What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the Big Fight Field channel where we speak the truth, we're honest, and we give our takes on professional wrestling. It is Friday night, February 14th, 2025, and this is your Friday night Smackdown review here on the Big Fight Field channel. Very boring show, I could say. I would say after tonight's show, I feel extremely tired watching the show. And we had to wait until 10:30 for something actually good to happen. And at 10:30 was the main event with Braun Strowman, Jacob Fatu, and Damian Priest, which was the qualifying match for the Elimination Chamber match. We got the whole dilemma of Jacob Fatu and Solo Sikoa. We got Cody Rhodes involved in the mix. And there's a lot of stuff that happened in that main event match, which we will get to. But outside of that, this was a very boring show. I'm looking at my notes here. LA Knight versus The Miz. Naomi versus Chelsea Green. Twice in 1 week, Triple H pins the mid-card women's champion. We're going to talk about that. We're definitely going to talk about that. And this show is basically a whole lot of nothing. We got Charlotte Flair declaring for the Wrestlemania, and she chose Tiffany Stratton, and we are going to get to that. As you see in the title of this video, Charlotte Flair chooses Tiffany Stratton as her opponent at WrestleMania. So, we'll be talking about that a lot tonight and so much more. But I thank you guys so much for joining me here tonight. If you didn't just hear that sniffing, I've been sick for 3 days now. I would say I was sick for a good 3 days. I was sick on Tuesday during work, which was horrible. I felt like I had a fever. I didn't. I was very close, but I didn't have a fever. But then I felt really bad on Wednesday, so I didn't want to do the AEW review on Wednesday because I always tell myself, if I'm 70 to 100%, I can go. 100% guaranteed. If I'm 60%, I can push it. If I'm anything less than 60%, if I'm giving you guys 50% effort, it's not worth me being on here. So I felt really sick on Wednesday. So I didn't want to do the Dynamite show. The show was all right. It wasn't bad. It was not better than the Dynamite previously in Atlanta. It certainly wasn't better than the Collision show from last week either. But it was a good show. And I'm excited for the Australia show. That's taking place tomorrow. That's taking place tomorrow night. I'm going to try my best all day to not see spoilers for that show. Luckily, I have a very busy day tomorrow, so that could definitely help out in that. But I'm definitely excited for the AEW Grand Slam show tomorrow night. So, for those of you wondering, when are you going to do a review for AEW Grand Slam? Well, we're going to do an AEW Grand Slam and NXT Vengeance Day review in one video. So you guys are going to get 2 reviews in one video, and it's not going to be tomorrow night because I have a family outing, so I'm not going to be able to watch NXT. And AEW starts at 10:30. At least it's going to be on TNT at 10:30 after NBA All-Star Weekend. So, I can't really. I don't want to do a review at 1 o'clock at night. That's way too late. It's not even a pay-per-view. But what we are going to do is we're going to do a big, gigantic podcast on Sunday. Hopefully, I get it out by the afternoon, and we'll do that on Sunday. So you guys are going to get NXT Vengeance Day and AEW Grand Slam on Sunday. So that should be fun. So let's just go ahead and get into this SmackDown show. Excuse me. We had SmackDown in Washington, D.C. Start with Cody. He asked the crowd what they wanted to talk about. And he started talking about the Elimination Chamber match. He said, Jey Uso has picked Gunther to be his opponent at WrestleMania. So that leaves me, the winner of the Elimination Chamber, facing me in the main event of WrestleMania. He lists down the participants. He talks about Logan Paul. He talks about CM Punk. He talks about John Cena. And when he says Drew McIntyre, he goes, and then there's Drew McIntyre. And shortly after, Drew McIntyre comes out and interrupts Cody Rhodes. And Drew says, and then there's Drew McIntyre. Is that all I deserve? So Cody's like, okay, I get it. I understand your frustration. And he does another big grand introduction. And then there's Drew McIntyre. And then Drew McIntyre's like, Drew McIntyre, who won the Money in the Bank, is a 2-time Elimination Chamber winner, defended the WWE Championship inside the Elimination Chamber, won the Royal Rumble, and has many, many accomplishments. And he says he came to SmackDown because Nick Aldis gave him the true land of opportunity. He is somebody that he trusts. And he says his main goal on SmackDown is to take the WWE Championship from Cody Rhodes. And he says, Cody, don't forget the times that I've saved you. A month ago, I was in this ring giving you a hug because I was worried about you and what Kevin Owens was going to do for you. And then Cody fights back and he says, I didn't need your help then. But what I am going to tell you is, since I've been here in the company for 3 years, I've lost 3 matches. And one of them is to you. And he says, I did not forget about that, and I'm looking to get my win back. And he says, so if you win the Elimination Chamber, I will happily wrestle you at WrestleMania to get that win back. And out comes Jacob Fatu. And Jacob Fatu, he talks to Drew McIntyre. He says, this is something people would be interested in. He says, the Scottish Warrior, the Samoan Werewolf, we can do this right now, right here. And Drew McIntyre says, that does sound intriguing, but I have an Elimination Chamber match in a couple weeks. You have a qualifying match tonight. That just doesn't seem like a bright idea. So Drew walks away, and Jacob just stalks Cody Rhodes. He walks a circle around Cody Rhodes, and Cody Rhodes is like, all right, I get it. You want my championship. Win your qualifying match tonight. Destroy 5 other men in the Elimination Chamber, and I'll see you at WrestleMania. And then they show the parking lot of a car pulling up to the arena, and it's Solo Sikoa, and he's got a silver chain on, a white turtleneck with white pants, and Cody storms to the ropes, and Jacob stops him. He's like, "Nah, Cody, I'm going to be the person who talks to Solo first to talk about family business." And Cody says, "You could talk to him first, but I'm going to get the last word in tonight." So that's the little cliffhanger that they leave for later on in the show, is what's Jacob going to say to Solo. So, I mean, this segment was alright. There's nothing really wrong with it. It's just nothing really stood out. We got a Drew McIntyre Cody face off, and yeah, it was fine. So, okay. I would say that this was my biggest criticism of the entire show. Naomi versus Chelsea Green, qualifying match for the Elimination Chamber. So, Monday on Raw, they had Bayley against Lyra Valkyria in a qualifying match. And Lyra Valkyria is the women's Intercontinental Champion. Okay? She's been the women's Intercontinental Champion for a month. And what they've done with her is backstage promos, being interrupted by Ivy Nile. She was the second person eliminated in the Royal Rumble match because she was eliminated by Ivy Nile. And then, Monday night on Raw, I felt like she should have beaten Bayley. Bayley did not need to beat this Bayley did not need this win over Lyra. Bayley's already feuding with Roxanne Perez. Even though it seems like Roxanne is going to be in the Elimination Chamber match, Bayley's already feuding with Roxanne Perez. We did not need Bayley in the Elimination Chamber. But I felt like we could have needed Lyra. I think that would have been all right. But what did they do? They beat Lyra. And granted, she lost in a roll-up, but they beat Lyra on Monday night. So far, as the Women's Intercontinental Champion, they've done Lyra Valkyria no favors at all. None. Now let's go to Chelsea Green. She gets a big moment on Saturday Night Main Event. She beats Michin in the inaugural match. She's the new Women's United States Champion. A lot of people are really happy about this. And all she's done is feud with Michin, feud with Michin, feud with Michin. She's had 2 matches already. It feels like they're going to have a 4th. And what happens tonight? She's in a qualifying match against Naomi. Naomi's a tag team champion. Bianca's already in the Elimination Chamber match. We don't need both tag team champions in the Elimination Chamber match. What happened? Chelsea Green lost clean. So since becoming the Women's United States Champion, Chelsea Green has just been feuding with B-Fab and Michin, where she could be feuding with better women on the roster and not feuding with Michin. And tonight, she lost clean to Naomi. And Naomi's a tag team champion, but those titles mean jack. So, since Triple H, WWE, has introduced these mid-card titles in the women's division, it was supposed to elevate the division. It was supposed to give more women opportunity Yet, they've booked Lyra Valkyria and Chelsea Green like shit. And Chelsea Green never had a feud that that has elevated the United States Championship. Lyra Valkyria needs a feud that is going to elevate the Women's Intercontinental Championship. So, now, what I would have done, Trish Stratus was on the show. What I would have done Trish Stratus and Chelsea Green. That's what I would have done. But they've made their mid-card champions look like complete buffoons in this week alone. On Monday with Lyra and tonight with Chelsea. We had Motor City against Los Garzas, and it was a 9-minute match. This crowd could not possibly care. And the Motor City won with the Skull and Bones. So that's that. We have Jacob Fatu and Solo Sikoa. Jacob Fatu and Tama Tonga trying to go find Solo Sikoa backstage, and they see him sitting in a locker by himself. And Jacob's all furious. He gets in his face. He's like, "Man, where you been, man? You're leaving the family behind. That ain't like you. We need answers." And Solo simply says, "When I lost to Ulafala, I wasn't the same man. I needed time off to recuperate. Think of who I was. And now, I know who I am." He says, "I'm a killer. I know you're a killer, and I know you're a killer. And for all of this to work, we need to stay the course. We need to stay together. And that starts tonight with you qualifying for the Elimination Chamber, winning the Elimination Chamber match, and bringing home the WWE Championship to our family." And he says, "Okay." And Jacob doesn't answer. And he's about to walk away. And Solo holds on to him. And he tells him, "Jacob, I love you, Jacob." So, for months, Jacob Fatu had the "I love you, Solo" gimmick, which got over really well with the fans. And now they have Solo saying, "I love you, Jacob," and Jacob just doesn't say anything, man. So, we'll get to what happens later on in the night, but man, they're heavily teasing a Jacob Fatu babyface turn sometime in the near future, and it's going to happen sooner rather than later. So, Hour 2 kicks off with Shinsuke Nakamura. He's been found. The United States champion is finally on television for the first time in 4 weeks. He's talking in Japanese. And I love this man's entrance. I love Shinsuke Nakamura's entrance. And whatever aura he had in his entrance, it all disappeared with this promo because everybody was chanting, what? But Nakamura says, "I've been in the shadows for 4 weeks to see who is my next challenger, and nobody steps up. There's no warriors on Smackdown." And he gets interrupted by LA Knight. I was hoping he got interrupted by Jimmy Uso, but he gets interrupted by LA Knight, And then LA cuts a promo. He says, I didn't know you were playing two truths, one truth and a lie. He says, the truth is that you have been hiding for the past couple weeks. And he's cutting this promo. And all of a sudden, The Miz comes out. And they go back and forth. And LA Knight absolutely buries The Miz. And he says, I already know what you're going to say before you say it. I beat John Cena at WrestleMania. I'm a Grand Slam champion. I'm the longest whatever. I'm the most must-see WWE. He says, how many years ago you beat John Cena is the last time you've ever been relevant. And he says, all these fans want now is for you to go away. And The Miz is mocking LA Knight, and he's pretending to be crying. And I'm like, this is not, yes, LA Knight absolutely buried The Miz on the microphone. He absolutely owned him here. And The Miz is mocking him by pretending he's going to be crying. And I'm sitting there, and I'm like, who on the creative team, on the production team that scripts these promos or writes out their promos thinks that this is going to be good television? Because I sat there, I watched this segment, and I'm like, if you are at a friend's house and they turn on wrestling, they turn on this show for the first time ever, and they see this dork, they're turning off the TV immediately. So this was not, that was not good at all by The Miz. So then suddenly, a brawl breaks out, and Miz takes all his jacket, his headband off, and Nick Aldis comes out and he says, this is the perfect solution. He says, it looks like LA Knight and The Miz want to fight each other, and Nakamura is looking for a challenger for his championship. So we're going to do LA Knight versus The Miz, and it's going to happen right now. This show was mostly boring. And these matches outside of the main event and part of the women's title match were very boring. This match was nearly could have put me to sleep. So, LA Knight hits him with a surprising BFT, and then he goes to the second rope, jumps up to the top rope, hits the elbow drop, and LA Knight beats The Miz. So, I guess after beating The Miz, I'm supposed to think that LA Knight earns a shot at the United States Championship. Whatever. I don't care. It's just like, if they took the title away from LA Knight, sorry. If they take the title away from LA Knight and put it on Shinsuke Nakamura, just to have LA Knight win the title back a few months later, what a gigantic waste of time that will be. A huge waste of time. LA Knight should still be the United States champion. And I hate beating a dead horse, but LA Knight should have never lost to Shinsuke Nakamura at Survivor Series. So they will be wasting 3 months of TV with Nakamura as the United States champion. R-Truth versus Carmelo Hayes. I don't even know how this match got set up. But Carmelo Hayes won after the leg drop. I don't know what it's. I can't remember what it's called. But he beat R-Truth in about 2 minutes. Then we had a Kevin Owens promo. And I'm going to take a sip of this water real quick. We had a Kevin Owens promo. And beforehand, they played a Sami Zayn promo from his house, saying that he's not doing well. His neck is not recovering well. And he says the biggest question that he will ask himself is why Kevin did what he did. Because I guess they see different eyes when it comes to support. Where Sami feels like he was there for his best friend, while Kevin wanted him to help him cheat to win a wrestling match. He says their friendship should mean more than winning a match. It should mean more than a championship. And he's just trying to process why Kevin did what he did. He says the amount of times they've turned on each other, it's become a joke. But this one is the most personal. And he says, I don't know when I get cleared, but when I do, me and you, we're going to have to do this again. And it's not going to be pretty. So then Kevin gets on the... he does a promo from his car. And he says, you're not doing good. He says, I haven't been doing good for the past 6 months. I've had 3 people that I love very much, who I called brothers, turn on me. And now I'm all alone, not knowing what to do. And he said, you should be ashamed of yourself. He said, I don't care if you're cleared or you're not cleared. He said, you said that we're going to do this again. Okay, we're going to do this where it all started, in Canada. He said, so if you're cleared or if you're not cleared, I will see you in Toronto. So in Toronto is Elimination Chamber. So I'm a bit upset and I'm a bit caught off guard that they're not doing this match at WrestleMania. I mean, maybe they are and they're just saving a stipulation match for WrestleMania. But, I'm a bit surprised that they're not doing this match at WrestleMania right away. Maybe they just do a one-on-one match at Elimination Chamber and they do a stipulation at WrestleMania. I don't know. But I guess we're going to have to get Sami on Raw or Smackdown sooner than we all thought, because it looks like it's going to be KO versus Sami at Elimination Chamber. Does that open the door for Randy Orton to face Kevin Owens at WrestleMania? If that does, what's Sami Zayn doing at WrestleMania? I don't know. There's a lot of questions coming out of this segment. Nia Jax and Tiffany Stratton for the Women's Championship. This match was actually going well. It was a good match. And then it all went away. So we might as well just talk about the finish. Tiffany Stratton, she is making a comeback. She hits the drop kick onto Nia. And she's getting ready to go for the prettiest moonsault ever to put away Nia. And Candice LeRae knocks her off the top rope. We get a 2-on-1 beatdown. A Gonzai drop onto Tiffany Stratton. And then Trish Stratus hits the ring from the crowd And Trish Stratus attacks Candice. She goes to attack Nia, and Nia, she squashes Trish Stratus, and they walk away. And as they walk away, out comes Charlotte Flair, and there's a steel chair in the ring, and she gets a microphone, and she's like, "Wake up, Tiffy. Wake up. If you hear me, wake up. If you can hear me, sit up, please." She said, "It's Tiffy time, because I choose you at WrestleMania." And when she said that, Tiffy was just selling her ribs after the bonsai drop. And she's like, eye opened by it. So Tiffany has the reality set in that Charlotte's chosen her as her WrestleMania opponent. So they throw up the graphic, Charlotte Flair versus Tiffany Stratton at WrestleMania. And then they go to the back with Tiffany, and Byron asks her thoughts on Charlotte choosing her. She says, "I haven't had the time to process because there's so much that happened tonight. The match with Nia, being attacked by Nia and Candice, they're still very much on my mind." And Trish Stratus walks up to her, and she's like, "Tiffy and Trishy, one time only." So they get excited over Tiffy and Trishy, but they don't clarify what's happening. Is it Tiffy and Trishy one-on-one? Is it Tiffy and Trishy in a tag team match? They never clarified what it is. I can imagine it's probably a tag team match, but they never said anything. So, I mean, after what happened after the Nia Tiffany match, it's probably going to be Nia and Candice LeRae against Trish Stratus and Tiffany Stratton. And I can say I don't particularly care about that match. Why should I? I don't know. But back to Charlotte. I'm a fan of Tiffany Stratton. I'm sure many other people are too. A lot of people are, in fact. I think she's quite great. And we might have to start counting down her days as the women's champion, because I find it hard to believe that WWE is going to pass up on giving Charlotte Flair another championship reign by beating Tiffany Stratton at WrestleMania. She's what? A 13-time women's champion, 14-time women's champion. She's going to break her father's record. So they got that on their mind, and they are probably going to give her the championship at WrestleMania. But what should happen is Charlotte should have to go to Las Vegas at WrestleMania and put over Tiffany Stratton. She doesn't see the bigger picture of the WWE. But if the WWE, Tiffany Stratton is really over right now, and she's going to be such a great babyface, Charlotte Flair, and I will talk about this a lot of times before we get to WrestleMania in 2 months. Charlotte Flair does not need to be the fucking women's champion. If you want to solidify Tiffany Stratton as a top women's wrestler in the WWE, you should have her beat Charlotte Flair at WrestleMania. And I'm going to compare this. I don't know if it's a good comparison or not, but I'm going to compare this to Harley Cameron and Mercedes Moné. Because right now, Harley has all the momentum in the world with the past couple weeks. She's got the crowd by the palm of her hands. So, for the shock factor, for the better of the AEW Women's Division, Mercedes should realize, hey, we need to make stars. I need to put this Harley Cameron over in Grand Slam. I doubt that's going to happen. But we all know Charlotte doesn't think of the bigger picture for the WWE. She thinks of the bigger picture for Charlotte Flair because of her selfishness. But if Triple H can think of the bigger picture for the WWE, the best result is Tiffany Stratton beating Charlotte Flair at WrestleMania. We got a lot more time to talk about this. So, I'm not going to give too much tonight. But, they did have Charlotte declare her opponent. And at WrestleMania, it is going to be Charlotte Flair versus Tiffany Stratton. And the main event, Braun Strowman, Jacob Fatu, Damian Priest. This match was quite good, man. Good match. There's a lot going on in the ending here, so we're going to get to that. Jacob Fatu is doing the hip attacks again to Braun Strowman. Again and again and again. So, now, Damian Priest is laid out, and Jacob goes and gets a steel chair, and he wraps it around Braun Strowman, and he goes for another hip attack, and and Braun Strowman kicks Jacob in the face, and gives him a shoulder tackle to the turnbuckle. And he sees the steel chair, and he puts it around Jacob's neck, and he goes, eye for an eye, Jacob. And as he's about to run and take off, Solo comes in, and he spikes Jacob Fatu right in the throat. He spikes Braun Strowman right in the throat. Jacob Fatu goes for the moonsault, and Cody's music hits. So Cody is beelining for the ring, and he goes right after Solo, and Solo throws Cody onto the ring post. Tama Tonga kicks him in the stomach, and Tonga is holding Cody so that Solo can spike him. Cody ducks. Solo spikes. Solo spikes Tama Tonga instead. So Jacob Fatu sees this, and he's livid. He's pissed. He turns Solo around. He gets all pissed at him, and Damian Priest throws Fatu into the ring post. Cody hits a crossroads onto Solo, and Damian Priest goes back in the ring, and he counters the running power slam, and he hits that big South of Heaven. He pins Braun Strowman. He's going to Elimination Chamber. So that was a lot. Solo getting involved. We got Cody and Solo brawling. Solo accidentally spiked Tama Tonga, so that really pissed off Solo. And Solo, he's fucked. He's fucked. Whether he wrestles Cody or not, it's probably happening at this point, unfortunately. But Jacob Fatu is pissed. Jacob Fatu is going to whoop that man's ass. I cannot wait for it, dude. I can't wait for Fatu to whoop Solo's ass. And it's going to happen sooner rather than later. So, that was your Smackdown review. And outside of all that stuff in the main event, the show gets a thumbs down from me. Dynamite was better than SmackDown, and Raw was miles better than SmackDown this week. So, I'm getting out of here. I'll see you guys Sunday. We got Vengeance Day. We got Grand Slam. 2 reviews. 1 podcast. I'll see you then. Comment down below your thoughts on SmackDown. Hit the like button if you liked what you heard from me. Follow me on Twitter at Colin_Joseph. And I'm back on TikTok. I got a new phone. I couldn't install TikTok. Yet last night I was able to install TikTok. So guess what? I might start making wrestling videos on TikTok as well. We're fucking back, baby. Have a good night. Stay safe. And as always, stay classy and love wrestling. I'm out. Peace.